On today's show, the Phoenix Suns fall to the Atlanta Hawks, but more importantly, they lose Jalen Green in the process, and then just a few moments later, they lose Devin Booker. Where the hell do they go now? Let's talk about that and much more in this edition of Locked On Phoenix Suns.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into yet another edition of Locked On Phoenix Suns. My name is Benjamin Garcia, host of the Ben Garcia Show, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m., where we talk all Arizona sports on YouTube, streaming in the mornings, and a credentialed Phoenix Suns media member, covering your Phoenix Suns for the number one sports podcast network in the world, the Locked On Podcast Network. Wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, consuming, watching, viewing Locked On Phoenix Suns, appreciate you making myself and this show a part of your day. But don't forget, Locked On Phoenix Suns is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So hit that follow or subscribe button. Do it. Thousands of other Suns fans have already done. Become an everyday and get locked on the Phoenix Suns right here each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. I'm sorry, guys. If it sounds like I'm annoyed, it's because I'm annoyed. This sucks, man. Like, I'm normally coming out with a bunch of passion, a bunch of excitement, and I am excited. Listen, at the end of the day, the Suns are, 10 games over 500 to this point in the season? They're 27-18. They're much better than any of us thought. And just so we're like, it is a blessing to be upset with what is going on with the Suns, because it could be way worse. The Suns' record could be 18-27, and players could be getting injured, and there's no reason to feel good. The reason why we're all upset is because the Suns were mounting and stacking all these wins, and they were going to beat the Hawks tonight, and then it all blew up in their face. You know, it is uncanny to this point, the amount of luck, or should I say the lack thereof luck, that the Phoenix Suns have in Atlanta. The Suns haven't beaten the Atlanta Hawks since 2014. Let's put that in perspective. I was a sophomore in high school in 2014. I was attending Cactus High School in Glendale, Arizona at 15, 16 years old. I am 27, nearly 28, and I've got my first child on the way. It is like, it's been forever, and then their luck only got worse. And so I'm struggling with where to start here, but I want to not bury the lead. I think it's most important that we talk about the two biggest injuries of the night, and then we'll discuss some of this game in the second segment, but I don't want to bury the lead. And if I'm overreacting a little bit, I apologize, but I feel prepared for this conversation because I've been prepping you for this conversation, and that is that I thought the Suns, guys, let's get the first narrative out there. Jalen Green gets injured, and some people are blaming the Suns medical staff. Guys, this is not a time to blame the Suns medical staff. I don't know if any of you have had a hamstring injury before. It wouldn't shock me if you haven't. That's not me making fun of anyone. That's me saying it's kind of a fluke injury. This isn't on anyone. Jalen Green has been rehabbing his hamstring for the better part of 2 months. At some point, you need to let him go test it. But this is why we talked about being on a minutes restriction and Jalen Green not being in the starting lineup, because those hamstrings are so tricky. They are so damn tricky. And here's the worst part of all this. I mentioned to you guys, man, if he hurts that hamstring again, this is why you got to be careful with him. I mean, could you lose the guy for the year? That is not out of the realm of possibility now. It's not. Now, I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But what I'm saying is you can't rule it out. And it sucks, man, because it's one of those situations where it's no one's fault. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's not the Suns' fault. It's not Jalen Green's fault. It's just a crappy situation. And like, I don't try to put myself in players' shoes, but I do understand the idea or the notion or the feeling of, I worked my ass off to get back on the court, the job, the whatever it is I'm doing. And then my body gives out on me again. Like, that sucks if you're Jalen Green. You've got to know that if you're Jalen Green, what he's feeling right now is probably all sorts of things. Like, damn, man, Is my body like, there's probably a thought in his mind that's not true. It's not true. I'm just saying when you get down low, that sometimes it's like, God, am I ever going to be the same? He will be. It'll get figured out. It's a hamstring, but it's a dark place to go down, especially when he's been busting his ass for the last 2 months to get back on the court. It's hard for someone like Jalen Green to sit on the sidelines as your team wins without you. Yeah, you're happy for them, but you want to be back on that court too. And so, like, I don't know. I might be overreacting. The game just ended like 2 seconds ago, but I'm pissed, man. We're talking about a game that the Suns lost, and we're not even talking about the game yet. We're talking about a Jalen Green injury that, guys, I don't know. And it all happened with him taking Luke Kennard off the dribble, shaking him out of his shoes. Luke Kennard was looking 10 different directions, puts it up in the basket. They call a timeout. He walks to the sideline, and you don't notice anything. And then you go watch the play back, and it's circulating on Twitter. It's brief. It's really quick. But as soon as he comes down, he reaches for his right hamstring. It's very quick. But look at his right hand the entire time. He reaches for it. I don't know what that means. They're calling it hamstring soreness. I don't know what the hell that means. I mean, your hamstrings hurt, whatever. And so that sucks for Jalen, man. That sucks for Jalen. I would say at minimum, like, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just guessing from my time watching the NBA and playing basketball and playing sports. I would guess, if we're lucky, a month. At worst, the year. And they'll never say he's out for the year with a hamstring injury, but I just don't know if they'll ever feel comfortable enough throwing him out there. But make no mistake about it, guys. This is not on anyone. This is no one's fault. It's a fluke accident. You're allowed to be angry, but let's not point fingers at anyone. It's no one's fault. It's just a really crappy situation. And I would like to spend the entirety of the segment talking about that, but I can't. Because then in the second quarter or in the third quarter, Devin Booker gets hurt. Now, more on Devin Booker's heroics in the third quarter in just a second. But Devin Booker was just kind of jogging up the floor, and someone told me, I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize. But he's walking ahead of the court, and I think it was a Kongwu, where he steps on his ankle weird. It wasn't like I play basketball 3 or 4 times a week. And whenever I roll my ankle, and I roll my ankle 15 times a day, I go on walks and roll my ankle. My wife makes fun of me. But I always roll my ankle like this. Like, he rolled his right ankle. I usually roll my left ankle on the inside, but whenever you roll your ankle, it's usually in, right? Where your side of your foot is parallel to the ground. And he rolled his ankle this way. He rolled it outside. He rolled his right ankle to where the bottom of his foot was facing right. So again, I'm not a doctor. I'm guesstimating. I don't know. I don't know if that's a worse ankle injury than rolling it to the inside. I would assume it is. It looked incredibly painful. And I don't think, like, again, I don't know, and I might be overreacting, and I apologize. I'm frustrated like you guys because of course, this happens. But when it rains, it pours. But Book's ankle went to the right side. Like, it was facing outward. His foot was. Now, that doesn't mean it was broken or anything like that, but it's probably a significant ankle sprain. I would guess it's probably, I don't think it's a grade 1. I think it's a little bit higher. Again, I'm just guesstimating, but that looked painful. And it happened on something as fluky as walking on someone's shoe. And it's a shame that it happened. Truly, it's a shame that happened. Because Booker was willing this team in the third quarter, and they were going to win this game. That's why the first bullet point in today's show says Hawks beat the quote-unquote Suns. Because they didn't beat the Suns tonight. They beat the third, the B Suns team. No Jalen, no Devin. It's an entirely different team. And so God, man, you might be talking about a stretch now where the Suns are down Booker and Green. And again, I don't know how long it is. The guys, there's okay, I'm sorry. I hate to jumble back and forth, but I see people trying to do like the hopium thing, which I get. I'm not mad at anyone for saying that, but let me tell you my perspective. If it was hamstring soreness and this was the first time it rose up, I would say to you, okay, you're probably right. Give it a week, probably be back. But this is now the initial injury, re-aggravating, another re-aggravation. There's no way it's just hamstring soreness. I hope it is. But I would prepare to be without Green again for probably another month. Here's the one bright side. The one bright side of Jalen Green getting injured. And again, there's no bright side. In fact, this isn't even the bright side. This is the one caveat to Jalen Green getting injured, because I don't want to paint anyone ever getting injured like there's any bright side to anything. The only bright side really is he'll make a full recovery at some point, and that's the thing that matters the most. But the one caveat is at least the Suns already know how to play with him. Meaning, this isn't losing Jalen Green after playing 35 games with him, which we all would have preferred because we want Jalen Green to play. But at least the Suns know how to play without Green. And there'll be no lull where they're trying to figure each other out. They know it. So that's the one caveat to all this. God, I'm sorry, man. That sucks, man. That sucks. Absolutely sucks. Hoping Jalen gets better. Hoping Book gets better. This isn't the last we're going to talk about it in the show, but I do want to get to this game. So let's do that. How the Suns lost it. Why the Suns lost it. Next. Today's episode is brought to you by the folks over at Game Time. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd, that first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few taps. Seeing the view from your seat before buying, choosing tickets makes choosing tickets easy and confident. Prices include fees up front, so that the total is clear from the start. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Reminder, we also launched our Everydayer Club. Thank you for making Locked On Suns your first listen. And thank you for making Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in the world. Reminder, we launched our Everydayer Club. It is $5 extra a month, or for the year, you could do $4.17 a month for a year. That would be billed annually. But for just $5 a month, if you want to go month to month, it's access to an ad-free audio version of Locked On Suns, compatible with all Apple Podcasts and Spotify and every other major podcast app. An invite only to the members only Locked On Suns group chat. It's exclusive access to the national bonus show, including the Locked On Sports Today audio podcast, a members only Locked On merch store with exclusive gear, and 60% off on additional Everydayer Club membership subscriptions. So go to the show notes if you want to sign up there. Go to the episode description on YouTube if you're watching there, or go to LockedOnSuns.simplecast.com. Thank you for continuously supporting Locked On Phoenix Suns. Okay. So, how did the Suns lose this game? Well, let's go through my notes. I'm going to be honest with you. It's a little bit of a blur. That's why I take notes, because I'm a little, again, the whole injury thing threw everything out of a flux. But in the second quarter, like the first quarter happened, the first quarter came and went. The second quarter, obviously Jalen Green got injured. And here's the first reaction to the Jalen Green injury in the game. I take back everything I've said about any trade ever on this podcast. I'm not trading Grayson Allen. I'm not trading Royce O'Neal. And of course, I might trade Nick Richards, but that's a totally separate entity. But I'm not trading Royce O'Neal, and I'm not trading Grayson Allen anymore. Now that Jalen Green is injured, and God knows how long he'll be out now, I need Grayson Allen. My argument has never been Grayson Allen stinks. He's a very good player. He is something the Suns need on a night in, night out basis. My argument was just, and it always was, You have 6 guards, trade one of them to go get a big. I'm out on that. We're done talking about trades. The only trades I will be entertaining is Nick Richards and a second-round pick for something, or just trade Nick Richards outright and try to get a couple of second-round picks for him. But we're not discussing trades anymore. So all you in the chat or in the audio versions or listening in the show here on YouTube, we're not, like, the trade is done now. That is one analyzation from this game. The Suns are not trading anything. You now need Grayson Allen now in his shot creation. Like, you can't get rid of him. So the Suns are just going to be small. And that's just what the Suns are now. And that's okay. They could still win games being small. They would have won this game if even Devin Booker stayed healthy. But in that second quarter, the Suns were getting pulverized by the Atlanta Hawks. They were more physical. They were the hard-nosed defensive team. And it felt like there was a dark cloud looming over the Suns in the second quarter because they were frustrated about the Jalen Green injury. Not at Jalen Green, but at the situation. And it kind of felt like those players were just saying, I'm done. Like, this is stupid. We just got our guy back, and now we're not healthy. We've been healthy for exactly 12 minutes all season. And, like, get us back on a plane back to Phoenix. That's what it felt like in the second quarter. And CJ McCollum had like 16 of his 18 points in the second quarter alone. He was really good in the first half. He's what kind of helped propel them over the Suns in the first half, and the Hawks went in with a lead. And then this was the Devin Booker part of the game, where I was going to do 20 minutes, and I still could, but there's other pressing matters now, on Devin Booker understanding the moment. And it is, make no mistake about it, it is Devin Booker's job when this team is in a rut physically on the court or mentally. And this team was mentally in a rut. And they seemed like they were done. They were upset about the Jalen Green injury, understandably so. And they were like, screw this. Like, screw this. We don't even want to play in this. And Booker got them out of that psychological rut on his own. He was freaking masterful in this game, which makes him getting hurt even more. He was 12 for 21 in this game. He had 5 3-pointers made. I would go on a limb and say that's probably Devin Booker's most 3-pointers he's made in a game this year. I don't know if that's true. It feels true. He had 31 points in this game in 28 minutes. Booker was awesome. He only turned over the ball twice. And credit to Devin Booker for understanding what was happening in that game, where it was getting out of hand. Jalen Green was injured. The players were in a mental rut, and Booker pulled them out of it. Like, that is what super max players do, which makes him getting hurt as well all the more frustrating, because he was awesome. He was absolutely fantastic, getting to the basket, playing well defensively, hitting open 3-point jumpers, hitting open elbow pull-ups. It was what we have grown accustomed to with Devin Booker. And you were like, oh man, this might be the best game Devin Booker's played all year. Like, potentially. So it's, that was frustrating. And then Booker gets injured. We talked about that a second ago. And then the fourth quarter hit, where the fourth quarter hit. And when you're down Jalen Green and Devin Booker, your 2 best shot creators, like, it's one thing if you're down your 2 best shot creators and you've got time to game plan and you've got to practice, and Jordan Ott can say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Colin, this is what you're going to do. Dillon Brooks, this is what you're going to do. Jordan, this is what you're going to do. Like, there's an ability there for you to be able to figure it out and make it up. And you just can't do that on the fly without Devin Booker and Jalen Green. And credit to Colin Gillespie, he tried. He really did try. And now Dillon Brooks is slumping at, maybe the worst possible time. He's been mostly good all season. But here's Dillon Brooks shooting over the last, holy cow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. Here are his shooting splits the last 10 games. 4 for 18, 2 for 13, 8 for 15, 2 for 13, 4 for 16, 11 for 24, 5 for 14, 8 for 15, 8 for 22, 7 for 15. When Jalen Green is out and Devin Booker is out and Dillon Brooks is in the middle of a slump, it's just going to be hard to win those games. So credit to Colin Gillespie, who, tried really hard to get them back into it. I thought sweet baby Oso Ighodaro was freaking fantastic in this game. But when you're down essentially 3 guys, because Dillon Brooks is sleeping offensively, is slumping offensively, it's just really hard to win those games. There's no analysis to it, guys. Like everyone here is smart enough to understand your 3 best shot makers, 2 of them aren't there and one of them slumping. It's going to be hard to win those games. So let's talk about what now. What do the Suns do now without Jalen Green and without Devin Booker? Let's talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the game tips off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to win to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame and limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern, have become appointment viewing with the NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new. Boosts, bonuses, and surprises. So easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect, right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Little basketball, little action, a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. So where do the Suns go now that Devin Booker and Jalen Green are both injured? Well, I know, here's what I would do if I was Jordan Ott. And just so we're clear, why am I even saying this? Obviously, you guys know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a coach. But what I will say is, if I was the coach, I give everyone today and Saturday to be pissed about it, to honestly kind of grieve about it. And then you got to flush it out come Sunday. Not flush it out like forget about Jalen or forget about Booker, but the games are still going to be played. The games are still going to be played. And the Suns cannot lose that next man up mentality that they have had all season. I understand, and really I sympathize with the fact that it's incredibly hard to keep that mindset all the time. But the stretch of games that they have coming up, golly, they're not too bad, but they're honestly not the easiest either. You've got Miami coming up who just beat you, but that's not a team that you feel super concerned about. Brooklyn, you should be able to beat Brooklyn. You got the Detroit Pistons next Thursday. That is a home game as well. If you're down Booker and you're down Jalen, it's hard to see yourself winning that game. The Cavaliers coming into town, that's a good team too. That's next Friday. Then you've got the Clippers, who are playing well recently as of late. The Portland Trailblazers, who are a team that is hard, physical, tough-nosed. You can win that game, but it's not going to be an easy task. Then you've got Golden State on Thursday, February 5th, and then Philadelphia, February 7th. I think you're looking at this next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. You're hoping the Suns could go 4-6 without Devin Booker and Jalen Green. And I understand that is not super amazing, but you've got to weather the storm while Devin Booker is not here. You've got to weather the storm. And that means come together collectively as a group, player to player, and next man up mentality. And that's what Jordan Ott needs to be preaching. These players are obviously significant and important parts of our team. They are not the entirety of the team. The nucleus and the culture that you have built is still there. What is not going to go away? Here's not the good part, because I don't want to say there's anything good about injuries, but here's the caveat. What the Suns do has never been predicated on or emphasized on the offensive side of the ball. It is a defensive hustle, outwork the other team, and that is still there. That nucleus is still there. This team was built off of defense and out hustling you, outworking you, doing what you have to do to beat the other team. So, that is not gone. Now, Devin Booker and Jalen Green do those things. I'm not saying that they're elite defenders, but they do all the little things, especially Devin Booker, which you've seen an extended period of time. But I'm not going to act like Devin Booker's the best defender on this team, or I think dives on the ground as much as Colin Gillespie or Jordan Goodwin does. Now, those guys are role players. That's kind of their job. It's no slight to Booker, but what you have and the culture is still there. You can't afford another big injury. You already can't afford another big injury. But the nucleus of what you do is still there, even without Jalen and Devin Booker. And what good teams do, like we know the Phoenix Suns are, is lean back into your identity. Lean back into your culture when these kinds of things arise. And so that means you're probably going to have to beat teams the way I thought you'd have to beat teams at the beginning of the season. It's going to have to be low scoring, defensive, bar fights, a lot of fouls, muck it up, make it gross. And here's the other thing. I want to look up tech fouls. Dillon Brooks has 14 technical fouls on the season. 2 more and he's suspended. That's the other thing. Brooks has got to keep his attitude in check. I know he's the proverbial leader now of the team with those 2 guys out. He is the catalyst. He's probably going to be the offensive catalyst. But Brooks has to understand that he's got to tone it down a bit, because 2 more you could be without Jalen Green for a game or 2. So that sucks, man. And that means Jalen Green might have to pull back a little bit in terms of his loudness and his craziness. So let's not forget that it is still there. It is still there. Their culture, their defense, and now players have to step up. Sorry, Dillon, your shooting slump that you were in, which is totally okay. Players have slumps all the time. I'm not going to kill Dillon for his. And honestly, his splits were so high, he was having a career year, that we knew that they were going to come down just a tad. So he's regressing to the mean a little bit. He's still a good player, great player. But this is where Brooks has to step up and break out of his slump and help lead this team, as well as Jordan Ott. This team needs Jordan Ott. Jordan's got to do a better. He's already doing a great job, but he's got to do an even better job coaching this team, coaching them harder, getting them ready to play. Because you honestly, it's all hands on deck now. It's all hands on deck. From Brooks to Ott to Colin. We're talking about starting lineups now that are probably going to feature Colin Gillespie, Grayson Allen, Dillon Brooks, Oso, maybe. He's been playing really well. Ryan Dunn, Mark Williams. Is that where we're going to go down? Maybe it's Grayson, Royce, Dillon, Mark, and then Colin at the 1. There's a lot of different possibilities the Suns could go down. But I got to tell you, when we were going to do this Friday episode post the Hawks game, I didn't think we'd be talking about this, but the Suns are built for it. Suns are built to get through this storm. They have earned the right to prove you and myself wrong. And let's see what they can do to weather the storm. With that being said, guys, that's all I got for you. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. It sucks. It's rough, but this team is good enough to get through it. So we'll be looking out for the Shams Charania or John Gambadoro tweets that'll tell us exactly what's going on with Jalen and Booker. And hopefully they can get those guys back ASAP. I will talk to you guys on Sunday from Mortgage Matchup Center, post Suns Heat, and we'll talk about that. and we'll talk about that then. But until then, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. I'm Benjamin Garcia, and it's been Locked On Phoenix Suns. Talk to you guys on Sunday, post Suns Heat.